Chapter 17, Uprising. Alex, Mela, and the children huddle around an ancient radio, with Jacob moving the antenna to quiet the static and whistles. Suddenly, the broadcaster exuberantly announced, "Hello, Warsaw speaking. Today, August 1st, 1944, the people of Warsaw rose against the Nazis' oppressors. All people everywhere supported the courage and determination to make Poland free once more." Jacob and Yurik broke into a cheer until Alex hushed them. The news continued. "The armies of the Soviet Union are braced on the outskirts of Warsaw and will be entering at any moment." The whole family cheered loudly this time. "Did you see the Polish flags flying up and down the street this morning, Papa?" Yurik asked, jumping up and running around the room like a dog freed of his leash. "I want to see that what's happening." Alex frowned. "Yurik, I'll tell you when it's safe to go out. Not now. The Polish army is blowing up every German car and building it finds. And don't forget," he added, shaking a finger, "the Germans are more eager than ever to kill any Pole they see. The uprising won't last forever. Only when the Russians come in to help us will the streets be safe again." Yurik had heard enough. As he strode toward the door, Alex shouted, "Yurik, come back!" Catching up with Yurik at the door leading out of the building, he grabbed the boy's shoulder to stop him. "Where are you going?" "Papa, we're free! Free! I'm going to get some sugar and horse meat for us so we can have a real dinner," Yurik shouted as he ran out of the building. "Don't worry." A shot rang out. Alex watched with horror as Yurik crumpled in the middle of the street. Looking up, Alex saw a German sniper ducked out of sight on the roof. He rushed to his son, lifted his limp body, and as though to give Yurik his strength, hugged him to his chest. Warm blood soaked Alex's hand and shirt as he carried his dying son into the apartment. All the screaming, "How dare you! How dare you! Nazi animals!" Mela wept over her son, cursing the Nazis and the war. Mariska stared with unbelieving eyes at her brother's still body. "We have to get him to a doctor," Mela cried. Yurik opened his eyes. "Mama, Papa, it's all right," he gasped. "I'm sorry I gave you so much trouble," he coughed. Pain coursed through his body. "Take good care of Mari and Genyek and Tedek." Yurik had always been full of life, and the one to defy orders, and the one who would do anything for a laugh. Now, at the end of his life, he turned serious. Alex and Mela took Yuri's body to an empty lot. Alex dug a hole, sweat stinging his eyes as he flung shovelfuls of soil over his shoulder. With Mela's help, he delicately laid Yurik into the ground. Looking down at the newly turned earth that held his son, Alex cursed, wiping away tears. Mela found a large stone and placed it over the grave. "Yurik," she said, "I'll be back one day to put a real stone here. This is my death," she said, sobbing as Alex gently pulled her away from Yurik. Jacob had begged to go with them to bury Yurik, but the Roslins refused. Germans bombing and shelling took place every day. Jacob knew that, but Yurik was more than a friend and more than a brother. They confided everything to each other. Jacob even carried Yurik's last secret. He hadn't been going out for food, but to join his friends throwing Molotov cocktails at the Germans. Jacob cried when he first saw Yurik's bleeding body, but not again. He felt numb as if nothing could touch him. Fear, no books, games, or puzzles took away his constant fear. "Do you think we'll make it, Mari?" he asked Mariska one day. She looked steadily at Jacob. "Everyone is dying," Jacob considered this. "Sholom, Aunt Hannah, now Yurik." He nodded shortly and replied, "It doesn't matter." Alex walked into the room. Genyek is the only thing that matters. Until Yurik died, Alex never questioned that they would go through the war. But his son's death shook his faith. Now he realized how much they all needed his optimism. "You mustn't give up hope," he said to Jacob and Mariska, lightly putting a hand on each of their shoulders. "There will be a better day, I swear it." And he paused, winking. "If that isn't true, you can both punch me in the nose. That's a promise." For a brief moment, the children weren't afraid. Every day, the family sat by the radio, listening to the underground battles with the Germans. "Why aren't the Russians here yet?" everyone asked. Shelling and bombing shook the streets as the Nazis crumbled Warsaw with their weapons. No one went out without risking his life. Even Alex stayed in the apartment during the day. When the bombs fell next to the door, Alex waited until dark and then quickly moved the family to a shelter. David clung to Mela as they entered the large, cold room, heavy with the smell of unwashed people. Jacob had never seen so many Poles. He edged near Alex, who grabbed his hand and squeezed. The family had been in the shelter for a month when they were awakened in the middle of the night by the sound of bombs exploding everywhere. Alex fumbled in the dark for the radio. As soon as it came on, everyone in the basement shelter crowded around to hear. "Hello, Warsaw speaking. This city of 1 million people is being wiped out. We have given more than we could. We are today the conscience of the world. We were called the inspiration of fighting nations and the inspiration of the world. We as a nation have a right to live. We demand that right." Static signaled the end of the broadcast. The room filled with the sounds of cries, sighs, people blowing their noses, and angry shouts. Alex sat quietly after he shut off the radio, his hand over his mouth, staring at the floor. David, sitting on Jacob's lap, wanted to talk, but Jacob put his hand over his brother's mouth, waiting. Alex felt the family's eyes on him. "We have to get out of Warsaw," he whispered. "The Germans will kill every Pole they find. They want revenge for the uprising." Mela suggested, "Alex, let's go to Vladik's little village. He told me he doesn't even know there's a war." Alex shook his head and allowed himself a chuckle. "I never thought I'd have any use of your brother." Mela shook a finger at him, but she smiled. "Children," Alex said, standing up, we leave tonight. Take only what you absolutely have to, because we'll be walking."